Unexpected visitor. Dr. Elora Chen stared out the reinforced windows of Outpost Zeta, Earth's most remote research station. The barren landscape of Europa stretched endlessly before her, Jupiter's massive form dominating the sky. She sighed, the isolation weighing heavily after months without human contact. A proximity alert jolted her from her melancholy. Elara frowned, checking the sensors. Nothing was scheduled to arrive for weeks. Her heart raced as she spotted an unidentified object hurtling towards the station at impossible speeds. "Computer, activate defense protocols," she shouted, bracing for impact. But instead of a catastrophic collision, the object slowed, gracefully touching down mere meters from the airlock. Elara gaped as a shimmering figure emerged. Humanoid, but clearly not human. Its skin was a swirling opalescent white, shifting colors like the aurora borealis. As it approached, Elara realized the alien was unmistakably female, with delicate features and eyes that sparkled like distant galaxies. The creature raised a slender hand in greeting and spoke, not with sound, but directly into Elara's mind. "Please," the alien's thoughts resonated with desperation. "I seek sanctuary. Will you grant me refuge?" Elara hesitated, her scientific curiosity warring with caution. What are you?" "I am Lyria, last princess of the astral realm. My world has fallen, and I fled here seeking aid from the legendary humans." "Legendary?" Elara couldn't help but chuckle. "I think you might be disappointed." Lyria's expression softened. "Your kind is known throughout the galaxy for its resilience and ingenuity. I've come to offer my services in exchange for protection." Elara's eyebrows shot up. "Services? In my culture, it is customary for those seeking asylum to become a servant to their protectors. I offer myself as your maid, Dr. Chen." Elara blinked in surprise. "How do you know my name?" Lyria tapped her temple. "Telepathy. I can read surface thoughts." "That's unsettling," Elara muttered. She studied the alien, weighing her options. Every scientific instinct screamed to learn more, but protocol demanded caution. "Look, I can't just let an unknown alien into a top-secret Earth facility. There are procedures, quarantines." Lyria's form shimmered, distress evident. "Please, I haven't much time. They'll find me soon." "Who?" "The Void Collective. They destroyed my world, seeking to harvest its psychic energy. If they discover I've survived..." Lyria shuddered. Elara's resolve wavered. The pain in Lyria's ethereal eyes seemed genuine. Against her better judgment, she made a decision. "All right, I'll let you in, but you stay in the quarantine chamber until I can contact Earth." Relief flooded Lyria's features. "Thank you, Dr. Chen. I am in your debt." As Elara initiated the airlock sequence, alarms blared. She whirled to see a massive shape blotting out the stars. A ship, bristling with weapons, had appeared from nowhere. Lyria's mental voice rang with panic. "The Void. They found me." Elara's training kicked in. Inside now. She grabbed Lyria's arm, surprised to find it solid despite its shifting appearance. They sprinted through the airlock as energy beams lanced from the ship, scorching the station's outer hull. Once inside, Elara slammed her palm on the emergency lockdown panel. Blast shields slid into place as she dragged Lyria towards the core of the station. "What the hell have you gotten me into?" Elara demanded. Lyria's eyes were wide with fear and remorse. "I'm so sorry. I never meant to endanger you." Before Elara could respond, a booming voice filled the station, seeming to come from everywhere at once. "Attention, human facility. You harbor a fugitive of the Void Collective. Surrender the Astral Princess immediately, or face obliteration." Elara's mind raced. The station's defenses were designed for meteors, not advanced alien weaponry. They were vastly outgunned. She turned to Lyria. "I don't suppose you have any hidden superpowers that could help us out?" Lyria shook her head sadly. "My abilities are primarily telepathic and empathic. I'm no match for their technology. Ilara took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. Well then, I guess it's up to human ingenuity to save the day. She sprinted to the main computer terminal, fingers flying across the haptic interface. Computer, initiate protocol Omega. Reroute all power to shields and begin emergency broadcast on all frequencies. The lights dimmed as energy surged into the station's protective fields. A monotonous voice began repeating, "Mayday, Mayday. This is Outpost Zeta. We are under attack by hostile forces. Request immediate assistance." Ilara turned to Lyria. "That should buy us some time. Now, tell me everything you know about these Void Collective creeps. If we're going to survive this, I need to understand what we're up against." As Lyria began to explain, Ilara's mind was already formulating plans. She might be outnumbered and outgunned, but she was human. And if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was beating impossible odds. The Void Collective was about to learn why you don't mess with Earth, even on its most distant outpost. Cultural exchange. The station shuddered as another energy blast impacted the shields. Ilara gritted her teeth, fingers dancing across the control panel as she rerouted power to maintain their defenses. Lyria hovered nearby, her opalescent form shimmering with anxiety. "Your shields cannot hold forever," Lyria's thoughts echoed in Ilara's mind. "The Void Collective's weaponry is unlike anything your people have encountered." Ilara shot her a wry grin. "You'd be surprised what humans can accomplish when backed into a corner. Now, tell me more about these Void creeps. What exactly are we dealing with?" Lyria's eyes clouded with sorrow. "They are a collective consciousness, driven by an insatiable hunger for psychic energy. My people, the Astrals, were their primary target due to our innate telepathic abilities." As Lyria spoke, Ilara's scientific curiosity began to override her fear. "Fascinating. A species that feeds on psychic energy. How does that even work?" "They use highly advanced technology to extract and consume the very essence of sentient minds," Lyria explained, a shudder rippling through her ethereal form. "It leaves their victims as empty husks, devoid of consciousness." Ilara winced. "Okay, that's genuinely terrifying. But why are they so fixated on you?" Lyria's form seemed to shrink inward. "As the last surviving member of the Astral Royal line, my psychic potential is considerable. They believe consuming my essence will grant them unimaginable power." "Great," Ilara muttered. "So we're harboring an alien battery that could turn our attackers into unstoppable psychic gods. This day just keeps getting better." Another blast rocked the station. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. Ilara swore under her breath, realizing their shields wouldn't last much longer. "Lyria, I hate to ask, but is there any way you can use your abilities to help us? Maybe contact Earth for reinforcements." The alien princess shook her head sadly. "My telepathic range is limited, especially after fleeing across galaxies. I'm afraid we're on our own." Ilara's mind raced, considering and discarding plans rapid fire. "Okay, think Chen. What would Mac ever do?" Lyria tilted her head, confusion evident. "Mac Gaiver." Despite the dire situation, Ilara couldn't help but chuckle. Earth reference. He was a fictional character known for creating ingenious solutions with limited resources. Her eyes lit up as inspiration struck. "Which is exactly what we need right now." She dashed to a storage locker, rummaging through equipment. "Lyria, you said the Void Collective is essentially a hive mind, right? All connected." "Yes, their consciousness is interlinked. It's what makes them so formidable." Ilara grinned, holding up a device. "And also potentially vulnerable. This is an experimental quantum entanglement communicator. We've been testing it for faster-than-light communication with Earth, but with some modifications." She trailed off, already lost in calculations. Lyria watched in fascination as the human worked, marveling at the speed and creativity of her thoughts. "If I can reverse the polarity and use your psychic abilities as an amplifier," Ilara muttered, more to herself than Lyria. We might be able to create a feedback loop in their hive mind, a psychic shockwave, if you will. Lyria's eyes widened. That could work. But the strain on my mind would be immense. I'm not sure I could survive the process. Ilara paused, looking up from her work. I won't force you. It's your choice. The alien princess stood straighter, resolve hardening her ethereal features. My people sacrificed everything to give me a chance at survival. If I can use that chance to stop the Void Collective, to prevent them from destroying more worlds, it's worth the risk. Ilara nodded, respect evident in her eyes. All right then, let's save the world. All worlds, I suppose. As they worked to modify the communicator, the constant barrage against the station's shields began to take its toll. Systems flickered, gravity wavered, and the air grew thin as life support struggled to compensate. Between frantic adjustments to keep them alive, Ilara found herself opening up to Lyria. She spoke of her life on Earth, her dreams of exploring the cosmos, and the loneliness that had driven her to accept this isolated posting. In turn, Lyria shared tales of her homeworld, a place of impossible beauty and psychic wonders. She described soaring spires of living crystal, oceans of liquid thought, and festivals where entire populations would join minds in joyous harmony. As they worked and taught, a bond began to form between the human scientist and the alien princess. Two beings from vastly different worlds, united by circumstance and a shared determination to survive. Hours passed in a blur of activity. Finally, Ilara attached the last component to their jury-rigged device. I think that's it. Are you ready? Lyria nodded, her form glowing with nervous energy. What do I need to do? Focus your thoughts on the device, Ilara explained. I'll initiate the quantum field, and it should create a bridge between your mind and the Void Collective's hive consciousness. Then, well, I'm not entirely sure what will happen, but think loud thoughts. A wry smile flickered across Lyria's face. Very scientific, Dr. Chen. Ilara shrugged. Hey, we're in uncharted territory here. Sometimes you just have to wing it. Another blast rocked the station, more violent than before. Alarms blared as multiple systems began to fail. Shields at critical levels, the computer announced dispassionately. Structural integrity compromised. Estimated time to total failure, 3 minutes. Ilara's jaw set in determination. Looks like we're out of time. Ready or not, here we go. She flipped the switch and the device hummed to life. Lyria gasped, her eyes glowing with an inner light as the quantum field enveloped her. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then Lyria's mental voice echoed through the station, filled with a mixture of awe and terror. I can feel them, she whispered. So many minds, all consumed by hunger and hate. It's overwhelming. Ilara gripped the alien's hand, anchoring her. Focus, Lyria. You can do this. Show them what the last princess of the Astrals is made of. Lyria's form began to pulse with energy, growing brighter and brighter until Ilara had to shield her eyes. The air crackled with psychic power as Lyria's consciousness expanded outward, colliding with the vast hive mind of the Void Collective. Outside, the attacking ship suddenly went silent, its weapons powered down as confusion rippled through the collective consciousness. Ilara held her breath, watching the sensor readouts and praying their desperate gambit would work. The fate of not just their lives, but potentially countless worlds, hung in the balance. As the psychic battle raged, Ilara found herself facing a sobering truth. She had come to Europa seeking isolation, believing herself content with solitude. But in just a few short hours, an alien refugee had shattered those illusions. Whatever the outcome, Ilara knew her life would never be the same. The universe had suddenly become so much larger, filled with wonders and terrors beyond imagination. And strangely, she couldn't wait to explore it further, preferably with her new alien friend by her side. Rising tensions. The air in Outpost Zeta crackled with psychic energy as Lyria's consciousness grappled with the vast hive mind of the Void Collective. Ilara watched helplessly, her scientific mind struggling to comprehend the invisible battle raging around her. The alien princess's form had become a blinding beacon of light, pulsing in rhythm with the jury-rigged quantum device. Suddenly, a piercing shriek filled the station. Ilara clapped her hands over her ears, but the sound seemed to bypass her auditory system entirely, stabbing directly into her brain. Through watering eyes, she saw Lyria convulsing, her ethereal body flickering like a faulty hologram. "Lyria!" Ilara shouted, fighting against the psychic onslaught to reach her alien friend. "Hold on." As her fingers brushed Lyria's shimmering form, Ilara's world exploded into chaos. Images and sensations flooded her mind, alien worlds consumed by darkness, the agonized screams of countless species, an all-consuming hunger that threatened to devour everything in its path. With a Herculean effort, Ilara forced her own thoughts to the forefront. She focused on Earth, its blue oceans, green forests, and the indomitable spirit of humanity. She thought of scientific breakthroughs, of art and music, of the joy of discovery. Most of all, she concentrated on the nascent friendship she'd formed with Lyria, a bond that bridged the gap between their two species. "We are not your food." Ilara projected the thought with all her might, hoping it would somehow reach the Void Collective through Lyria's connection. "We are sentient beings, and we will not submit." A shock wave of psychic energy burst outward from the station. The attacking ship reeled, its sleek form suddenly riddled with arcing tendrils of energy. Ilara held her breath, watching the sensor readings as the massive vessel's systems flickered and failed. With a final silent flash, the Void Collective ship vanished. Whether destroyed or simply retreated, Ilara couldn't tell. The abrupt absence of its oppressive presence left an eerie calm in its wake. Lyria collapsed, her glow fading to a faint shimmer. Ilara caught her, easing the alien princess to the floor. "Lyria, can you hear me? Are you all right?" Slowly, Lyria's eyes fluttered open, their starry depths filled with exhaustion and wonder. We did it," she whispered directly into Ilara's mind. "They've withdrawn, at least for now. Your thoughts, your emotions, they were too much for them to process. I've never felt anything like it." Ilara managed a weak smile. Glad to know humanity's chaos is good for something. She helped Lyria to a nearby chair, then began assessing the damage to the station. "Computer status report." The A's voice crackled through damaged speakers. "Multiple systems compromised. Life support operating at 62% efficiency. Communications array offline. Hull breaches detected in sectors 3 and 7. "Fantastic," Ilara muttered. She turned to Lyria, who seemed to be regaining her strength. "I hate to ask, but any chance you have some hidden repair abilities to go with that telepathy?" Lyria shook her head ruefully. "I'm afraid not. My people focus more on mental disciplines than physical manipulation." Ilara sighed. "Worth a shot. All right, we need to prioritize. First, we seal those hull breaches before we lose what's left of our atmosphere. Then we see if we can cobble together some kind of distress beacon. The regular channels are down, but maybe we can rig something up with that quantum doohickey of yours." As they worked to stabilize the damaged station, Ilara's mind raced with questions. "So, not that I'm complaining, but why did our little psychic light show send them packing? From what you've told me, the Void Collective isn't exactly known for retreating." Lyria's brow furrowed as she helped Ilara seal a crackling power conduit. "I'm not entirely sure. When you touched me, it was like your thoughts amplify my own. The diversity and intensity of human emotions seemed to overwhelm their hive mind. They couldn't process it all." "Ha," Ilara mused. "Death by information overload. I guess there's something to be said for our species' chaos after all." They lapsed into companionable silence as they moved through the station, patching systems and jerry-rigging repairs. Hours passed in a blur of activity, punctuated by moments of shared relief as another crisis was averted. Finally, as they stood before the hastily reassembled communications array, Elara allowed herself a moment of hope. If this works, we should be able to reach Earth. Maybe even tap into some of those defensive satellites they've been secretly launching. She shot Lyria a wink. Don't tell anyone I know about those. Lyria's mental laughter sparkled in Elara's mind. Your secret is safe with me, Dr. Chen. As Elara's finger hovered over the activation switch, a low rumble reverberated through the station. Warning klaxons blared to life, somehow even more urgent than before. Multiple objects detected on long-range sensors, the computer announced. Profiles match Void Collective vessels. Estimated time to intercept, 47 minutes. Elara's heart sank. They're coming back. And they brought friends. Lyria's form shimmered with distress. It seems our victory was short-lived. The collective must have called for reinforcements. But why? Elara demanded, frustration evident in her voice. Why are they so hell-bent on capturing you? Surely there are easier sources of psychic energy in the galaxy. Lyria's eyes dropped, guilt radiating from her in palpable waves. I haven't been entirely truthful with you, Elara. There's more to my flight than simply being the last of my kind. Elara's eyes narrowed. What aren't you telling me, Lyria? The alien princess seemed to steel herself. Before my world fell, our scientists developed a way to weaponize our psychic abilities. A sort of psychic bomb, capable of wiping out consciousness across entire star systems. They believed it was the only way to stop the Void Collective's advance. Let me guess, Elara said, her voice tight. You're the key to activating this weapon. Lyria nodded miserably. My unique genetic makeup, combined with my royal bloodline's enhanced abilities, makes me the only one capable of triggering the device. That's why the collective hunts me so relentlessly. They fear what might happen if I fall into the hands of their enemies. Elara took a step back, her mind reeling. So you're not just a refugee, you're the most dangerous weapon in the galaxy. I never wanted this power, Lyria pleaded. I fled not just from the collective, but from the responsibility of wielding such a terrible device. I hoped that if I disappeared, both sides would eventually give up the search. Elara ran a hand through her disheveled hair, processing this new information. Part of her wanted to be angry at Lyria for the deception, for dragging her into an intergalactic conflict. But as she looked at the alien's dejected form, she felt her irritation soften. You should have told me, Elara said finally. But I understand why you didn't. Fear makes us do crazy things, human or alien. Lyria's relief was palpable. You're not angry? Elara managed a wry smile. Oh, I'm plenty angry, but not at you. I'm angry at the circumstances that forced you into this position. I'm angry at the Void Collective for threatening innocent worlds. And I'm angry at whoever thought creating a galaxy-wide kill switch was a good idea. She squared her shoulders, determination setting in. But none of that matters right now. We've got incoming hostiles and limited options. So, Princess Lyria of the Astral Realm, last of your kind and unwitting superweapon, what do you say we show these void creeps why they shouldn't mess with the combined might of human ingenuity and alien psychic powers? Lyria's form seemed to brighten, hope kindling in her starry eyes. You still want to fight alongside me, even knowing the truth. Are you kidding? Elara grinned. Earth's first contact with alien life, a battle to save the galaxy, and a chance to science the hell out of an impossible situation. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. As they turned to face the looming threat together, Elara couldn't help but feel a thrill of excitement beneath her fear. Whatever came next, she knew two things for certain. It would be one hell of a story to tell if they survived, and she wouldn't want anyone else by her side for the coming battle. The fate of Earth, perhaps the entire galaxy, now rested in the hands of a human scientist and an alien princess. As the sensors beat ominously, counting down the minutes until the Void Collective's arrival, Elara and Lyria began to plan their last desperate stand. Unlikely alliance. The minutes ticked by with agonizing slowness as Elara and Lyria prepared for the Void Collective's imminent arrival. They had transformed the battered control room of Outpost Zeta into a makeshift command center, holographic displays flickering with sensor data and hastily compiled tactical information. "Okay," Elara said, her voice tight with concentration. "Let's review our assets. We've got one damaged research station, a cobbled-together quantum communicator, your psychic abilities, and my admittedly impressive brain. Against an armada of technologically advanced, consciousness-devouring aliens. I like those odds." Lyria's mental voice resonated with a mix of amusement and anxiety. "Your species' ability to find humor in dire situations continues to astound me. It's a survival mechanism," Elara quipped. "Laugh or cry, right? Now, about that psychic superweapon of yours." Lyria's form shimmered with discomfort. "Elara, you can't be suggesting." "Relax," Elara interrupted. "I'm not proposing we wipe out half the galaxy, but if we could replicate even a fraction of that power, maybe use it as a targeted EMP against the void ships." Before Lyria could respond, a proximity alert blared. Both women turned to the main view screen, watching in dismay as a massive fleet of Void Collective vessels materialized from hyperspace. "That's a lot more than I was expecting," Elara muttered. The computer's dispassionate voice cut through their shock. "Incoming transmission from lead Void Collective vessel." Elara squared her shoulders. "Well, might as well be polite. Put them through." The view screen flickered, revealing a being that defied easy description. It seemed to shift and writhe, a mass of shadowy tendrils coalescing into a vaguely humanoid shape. When it spoke, the words reverberated painfully in their minds. "Sentients of Earth Outpost. You harbor the astral weapon. Surrender it immediately, or face annihilation." Elara stepped forward, chin raised defiantly. "This is Dr. Elara Chen of Earth. The being you refer to as a weapon is under my protection. She has requested asylum, which I've granted. I suggest you turn your fleet around and leave our solar system immediately." A sound like grinding metal filled their heads. Laughter, Elara realized with a shudder. "Your BRAVADO is amusing, but futile. We are THEVOID. We are Legion. Your primitive defenses cannot hope to." The transmission cut off abruptly as a barrage of energy weapons fire lanced past the Void Fleet. Elara's jaw dropped as sleek, deadly-looking ships walked into view, placing themselves between Outpost Zeta and the collective armada. "Ah, Lyria," Elara managed. "Please tell me those are friends of yours." Before Lyria could answer, a new voice crackled through the comm system. "Outpost Zeta, this is Admiral Zorok of the Galactic Confederation. Looks like you could use a hand." Elara let out a whoop of joy. "Admiral, your timing is impeccable. But how did you know we needed help?" "We've been tracking Void Collective movements for months," Zorok replied. "When we detected quantum fluctuations from this sector, we knew something big was happening. Didn't expect to find Earth mixed up in all this, though. You folks are full of surprises." As they watched, the space around Europa erupted into chaos. The Confederation fleet engaged the Void Collective in a dazzling display of advanced weaponry and tactics. Energy beams crisscrossed the void, while smaller fighter craft darted between capital ships in intricate maneuvers. "Dr. Chen," Admiral Zorok's voice cut through the din of battle. "Our long-range scans indicate you have an astral life sign aboard. Is this correct?" Elara glanced at Lyria, who nodded her assent. "Affirmative, Admiral. Princess Lyria of the Astral Realm is here under my protection." There was a pause, filled only by the muted sounds of distant explosions. When Zorok spoke again, her tone was grave. "Then the situation is even more critical than we thought. Doctor, We need you to bring the princess to our flagship immediately. We have equipment that can amplify her abilities. It may be our only chance to repel this invasion." Ilara's protective instincts flared. "Now wait just a minute. Lyria isn't some weapon for you to point at the enemy. She's a person, and she's been through hell already." "I appreciate your concern, Doctor," Zorok replied, a hint of impatience creeping into her voice. "But the fate of this entire sector, including your Earth, hangs in the balance. We don't have time for niceties." Before Ilara could argue further, Lyria placed a gentle hand on her arm. "It's all right, Ilara. The Admiral is right. I can't run from this responsibility any longer." Ilara searched Lyria's starry eyes, seeing determination mixed with fear. She sighed, knowing they had little choice. "All right, but I'm coming with her. You'll need my expertise with the quantum communicator we rigged up." "Agreed," Zorok said. "Prepare for emergency teleportation. And Dr. Chen, I hope you have a strong stomach." Before Ilara could ask what that meant, the world dissolved around them in a blur of light and sensation. When reality reasserted itself, she found herself on the bridge of an alien starship, surrounded by a dizzying array of advanced technology and beings of various species. Admiral Zorok strode towards them, a tall, reptilian humanoid with iridescent scales and piercing golden eyes. "Welcome aboard the Starblade, Dr. Chen, Princess Lyria. I wish we had time for proper introductions, but..." A violent shudder ran through the ship, nearly knocking them off their feet. "The Void Collective is pressing their attack," a multi-limbed alien at a nearby console reported. "Shields at 72% and falling." Zorok's expression hardened. "Then we'd better get to work. This way, quickly." As they hurried through the ship's corridors, Ilara's mind raced. The events of the past few hours felt surreal. She had gone from isolated researcher to key player in an intergalactic conflict. Part of her wanted to pinch herself to wake up from this impossible dream. But the weight of Lyria's hand in hers anchored her to reality. They entered a chamber dominated by a large, spherical device. Ethereal energy pulsed within its crystalline structure, reminding Ilara of Lyria's shimmering form. "This is the Nexus," Zorok explained. "It's designed to amplify and focus psychic energy. With Lyria's power channeled through it, we may be able to create a feedback loop in the Void Collector's hive mind, similar to what you accomplished on a smaller scale." Ilara frowned, studying the device. The energy requirements for something like that would be astronomical. "How do you plan to?" Her eyes widened as realization dawned. She turned to Lyria, seeing the same understanding reflected in the alien princess's gaze. "The weapon," Ilara breathed. "You're going to use the astral superweapon after all." Zorok nodded grimly. "A targeted version, yes. It's the only way to generate enough psychic force to repel the entire collective." Lyria stepped forward, her form glowing with resolve. "I understand. What must I do?" As Zorok began explaining the procedure, another violent tremor shook the ship. Alarms blared, and a voice rang out over the intercom. "Multiple hull breaches detected. Void forces have boarded the Starblade." Zorok swore in an alien tongue. "We're out of time. Lyria, you need to interface with the Nexus now. Dr. Chen, your expertise with the quantum communicator could be crucial. Can you integrate it with our systems?" Ilara nodded, already moving towards a nearby console. "I'll do my best. But Admiral, you should know, this could have unforeseen consequences. We're playing with forces we barely understand." "Noted, Doctor," Zorok replied, her voice tight. "But right now, it's our only option." As Ilara worked feverishly to connect her jury-rigged device to the alien technology, she watched Lyria approach the Nexus. The alien princess placed her hands on the sphere, her form beginning to glow with increasing intensity. The ship rocked with another impact. Through the viewport, Ilara could see the Void Collective ships pressing their attack, dark tendrils of energy lashing out hungrily. With a final adjustment, Ilara's quantum communicator hummed to life, interfacing with the Nexus. Energy crackled between the devices, and Lyria's glow became blindingly bright. "It's working," Zorok shouted over the rising whine of energy. "Lyria, focus your thoughts on repelling the void." Ilara watched in awe as waves of psychic energy pulsed outward from the Nexus. The void ships closest to them began to falter, their sleek forms wavering like mirages. But something was wrong. Lyria's face was contorted in pain, her ethereal body flickering dangerously. "She can't handle the strain," Ilara realized. Without thinking, she lunged forward, placing her hands on the Nexus alongside Lyria's. The moment their skin made contact, Ilara's world exploded into light and sensation. She felt herself drawn into Lyria's consciousness, their minds merging and expanding outward. Together, they reached across the vastness of space, touching the collective mind of the void. In that infinite moment, Ilara understood. She saw the void's hunger, born of ancient loss and fear. She felt Lyria's determination, tempered by compassion even for her enemies. And she recognized her own fierce protectiveness, not just for Lyria or Earth, but for all life that sought to thrive in the face of cosmic indifference. With that understanding came power, human and astral, science and psychic ability, logic and emotion, all blended into a force that rippled across the star system. The Void Collective reeled, their hive mind overwhelmed by the complexity and depth of the merged consciousness they faced. Ship after ship winked out of existence, not destroyed, but flung far across the galaxy by the psychic tsunami. As the last of the Void vessels vanished, Ilara felt herself being gently disentangled from Lyria's mind. She stumbled backward, caught by Admiral Zorok's strong arms. "Incredible," the Admiral breathed. "You did it, both of you." Ilara blinked, her vision slowly clearing. She saw Lyria slumped against the Nexus, exhausted but smiling. Around them, the bridge crew stared in awe. What just happened?" Ilara managed, her voice hoarse. Lyria's mental voice, warm with affection, whispered in her mind. "We found a third option, my friend. Neither destruction nor submission, but understanding." As the realization of their victory sank in, Ilara felt a bubble of laughter rise in her chest. They had done it. Earth was safe, the Void Collective defeated, at least for now. And in the process, they had unlocked potential she never dreamed possible. Looking around at the diverse crew of the Starblade, at Lyria's shimmering form, and the starfield beyond the viewport, Ilara knew her life would never be the same. The universe had cracked wide open, full of wonders and dangers and possibilities. And she couldn't wait to explore it all. Battle for Earth. The aftermath of their victory over the Void Collective was a whirlwind of activity. As the Starblade and its sister ships secured the area around Europa, Ilara found herself thrust into the role of Earth's unofficial ambassador to the Galactic Confederation. "Dr. Chen," Admiral Zorok said, her reptilian features set in a serious expression, "we need to discuss the implications of what's happened here. Your world is now irrevocably part of a larger galactic community." Ilara nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. "I understand, Admiral, but first I need to contact Earth. They deserve to know what's going on." As if on cue, the ship's communication officer, a being that seemed to be made entirely of shimmering light, spoke up. "Admiral, we're receiving multiple transmissions from Earth. It seems our battle did not go unnoticed." Zorek sighed. "So much for easing them into it. Very well, put them through." The main view screen flickered to life, showing a harried-looking man in a military uniform. His eyes widened as he took in the alien bridge and its diverse crew. "This is General Marcus Hayes of Earth's United Defense Force. Who am I speaking with, and what in God's name is going on up there?" Ilara stepped forward, trying to project a calm she didn't entirely feel. "General Hayes, I'm Dr. Ilara Chen from Outpost Zeta. I know this is a lot to take in, but Earth was just at the center of an intergalactic conflict. The good news is, we won. What followed was a grueling hours-long debriefing as Ilara, with help from Lyria and Admiral Zorak, explained the situation to increasingly high-ranking Earth officials. By the time they finished, the UN Security Council had been convened, and the world was buzzing with rumors of alien contact. As the transmissions ended, Ilara slumped in her chair, exhausted. Lyria placed a comforting hand on her shoulder, her touch sending a gentle wave of calming energy through Ilara's body. "You did well," the alien princess said softly. "Your people are fortunate to have you as their representative." Before Ilara could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. The bridge erupted into a flurry of activity as crew members rushed to their stations. "Report," Zarak barked. The tactical officer, a multi-armed insectoid, chittered rapidly. "Multiple spatial anomalies detected, Admiral. Energy signatures match Void collective technology, but on a scale we've never seen before." Ilara's heart sank as she watched the sensor displays. Dozens, then hundreds of Void ships began pouring out of swirling vortexes, their dark forms blotting out the stars. "It seems we've entered the hive," Lyria said, her mental voice tinged with dread. "This is no mere raiding party, it's a full-scale invasion force." Admiral Zorak's sails rippled with barely contained tension. "All ships, battle stations. Dr. Chen, we need to coordinate with Earth's defenses, limited as they may be. Princess Lyria, can you reach out psychically, try to gauge their intentions?" As the bridge erupted into organized chaos, Ilara felt a moment of surreal clarity. Just days ago, her biggest concern had been maintaining the atmospheric recyclers on a remote outpost. Now, she was helping coordinate the defense of her entire planet against an alien armada. She shook off the disbelief and got to work, patching into Earth's military communications and relaying tactical data from the Confederation fleet. It quickly became apparent that while Earth's weapons were pitifully outmatched, the sheer determination of her people might make a difference. "They're launching fighters," someone shouted. Through the viewscreen, Ilara watched in awe as squadrons of Earth's most advanced jets rose to meet the alien threat. They were hopelessly outgunned, but they fought with a ferocity that seemed to take the Void forces by surprise. Meanwhile, Lyria had entered a trance-like state, her form pulsing with psychic energy as she probed the Void's collective consciousness. When she spoke, her voice echoed strangely in their minds. "Their anger is overwhelming," she said, her words strained. "They seek not just conquest, but retribution. The defeat we dealt them has wounded their pride. They mean to make an example of Earth." Ilara's fists clenched. "Not if we have anything to say about it." The battle that followed was like nothing in Earth's history. Void Collective ships clashed with the Galactic Confederation fleet in dazzling displays of advanced weaponry. Energy beams lanced across space, while smaller craft engaged in dogfights that defied the laws of physics as Ilara understood them. On the planet below, Earth's cities lit up with defensive fire. Missiles streaked into the sky, while hastily adapted satellite weapons took their toll on the invading forces. But for every Void ship destroyed, 2 more seemed to take its place. "We're losing ground," Admiral Zorak growled, watching as another Confederation cruiser exploded in a brilliant fireball. "We need to change the tide of this battle, or Earth is done for." Ilara's mind raced, considering and discarding plans at lightning speed. Then her eyes fell on the Nexus, still humming with residual energy from their earlier feat. "The Nexus," she said, an idea forming. "What if we could use it to link Earth's defenders? Not just the Confederation ships, but everyone, the fighters, the ground forces, even civilian volunteers. A planet-wide psychic network." Lyria's eyes widened. "It's possible, but the strain would be immense. We'd need a focal point, something to unite the collective will of your people." "I'll do it," Ilara said without hesitation. "I'm the bridge between Earth and the Confederation. It has to be me." Admiral Zarak looked skeptical. "Dr. Chen, the risks." are nothing compared to what we're facing, Ilara interrupted. Admiral, this is my home. My people. I have to try. After a moment's hesitation, Zorak nodded. Very well. Let's hope your human unpredictability gives us an edge. They worked quickly, Ilara interfacing her quantum communicator with the Nexus while Lyria prepared the psychic linkage. As the final connections were made, Ilara placed her hands on the glowing sphere, Lyria's cool touch overlapping her own. Ready? The alien princess asked. Ilara took a deep breath. As I'll ever be. The world fell away as Ilara's consciousness expanded outward. She felt Lyria's presence beside her, a guiding light in the vastness of the psychic plane. Then, one by one, other minds began to join them. She touched the determined focus of fighter pilots, the grim resolve of ground troops, the fearful but unwavering spirit of civilians huddled in shelters. Billions of minds, each a unique spark of human will and creativity, flowing together into a vast, collective force. Ilara became the fulcrum, the point where human determination met alien psychic power. Through her, the united will of Earth flowed outward, touching the minds of the Confederation forces as well. As one, they pushed back against the encroaching void. On the physical plane, the effects were immediate and stunning. Earth's weapons found their marks with uncanny accuracy. Confederation ships moved in perfect, intricate formations that confounded the Void's tactical algorithms. Even unarmed civilians contributed, their combined mental energy disrupting the Void's psychic links. The Void Collective reeled, their hive mind bombarded by the chaotic, vibrant, endlessly creative force of united humanity. Ship after ship fell dark or retreated, unable to cope with the psychic onslaught. In the heart of the maelstrom, Ilara felt herself stretching to the breaking point. The human mind wasn't meant to channel this much energy, to touch so many consciousnesses at once. She could feel herself beginning to fray at the edges, her sense of self threatening to dissolve into the collective. Just as she thought she could bear no more, she felt Lyria's presence intensify. The alien princess poured her own strength into Ilara, shoring up the fragile human psyche against the overwhelming tide. Hold on, Lyria's thoughts whispered, just a little longer. With one final monumental effort, Ilara focused the full might of Earth's united will. A wave of psychic energy erupted from the planet, rippling outward through space. It washed over the Void Armada like a tsunami, short-circuiting their hive mind and sending them into disarray. Slowly, painfully, Ilara felt herself being drawn back into her body. She opened her eyes to find herself slumped against the Nexus, Lyria's arms supporting her. Around them, the bridge of the Starblade erupted in cheers. Through the viewscreen, Ilara watched as the remaining Void ships fled, vanishing into swirling spatial vortexes. Earth, battered but unbroken, still spun serenely below. "We did it," she croaked, her voice hoarse. "We actually did it." Admiral Zarak approached, something like respect glimmering in her reptilian eyes. "Dr. Chen, I've seen a lot in my centuries of service, but nothing quite like that. You and your people have earned your place among the stars today." As the full impact of their victory sank in, Ilara felt a mixture of exhaustion, elation, and trepidation. They had won the battle, yes, but in doing so, they had irrevocably changed the course of human history. Earth could no longer pretend it was alone in the universe. Whatever came next, first contact protocols, galactic politics, the integration of alien technology, Ilara knew she would be at the forefront. It was a daunting prospect, but as she looked at Lyria's smiling face and the diverse crew of the Starblade, she felt a surge of optimism. Humanity had faced its trial by fire and emerged stronger for it. The road ahead might be challenging, but it would also be filled with wonders beyond imagination, and Ilara couldn't wait to see what the universe had in store for them next. New horizons. The weeks following Earth's victory over the Void Collective were a whirlwind of activity. As the dust settled and the immediate threat passed, humanity found itself grappling with a new reality, one in which they were no longer alone in the universe. Ilara stood before the United Nations General Assembly, her heart racing as she prepared to address the gathered world leaders. Beside her, Lyria's ethereal presence provided a calming anchor. Admiral Zorok and a delegation from the Galactic Confederation waited in the wings, ready to officially welcome Earth into the broader cosmic community. Distinguished representatives, Ilara began, her voice steady despite her nerves. We stand at a pivotal moment in human history. The events of the past month have irrevocably changed our place in the universe. We have faced a threat beyond our imagining, and through unity and determination, emerged victorious. She paused, looking out over the sea of faces, some eager, some apprehensive, all attentive. But our victory brings with it great responsibility. We are now part of a larger galactic society, with all the wonders and challenges that entails. The Galactic Confederation has extended an invitation for Earth to join their alliance. This decision will shape the course of our species for generations to come. As Ilara continued her speech, outlining the potential benefits and risks of joining the Confederation, she reflected on the whirlwind of changes that had already begun. In the days immediately following the battle, Earth had been abuzz with activity. Cleanup and reconstruction efforts were underway, aided by advanced Confederation technology. The sight of alien ships assisting in repairs had quickly become commonplace in cities around the world. Meanwhile, the scientific community was in a frenzy, eagerly studying the wealth of new knowledge suddenly available. Ilara had found herself at the center of it all, working tirelessly to bridge the gap between human and alien understanding. There had been challenges, of course. Fear and suspicion still ran deep in some quarters. Fringe groups had sprung up, some advocating for isolation from galactic affairs, others calling for aggressive expansion into space. Religious institutions grappled with the theological implications of alien life, while governments scrambled to adapt their policies to a much larger playing field. But for every obstacle, there seemed to be an equal or greater opportunity. The possibility of faster-than-light travel had captured the public imagination. Talk of colonies on distant worlds was no longer the realm of science fiction, and the potential for advancing medical science with alien knowledge offered hope for curing diseases long thought incurable. As Ilara concluded her address, she felt a swell of pride in her species. Despite the shock and upheaval, humanity had risen to the occasion with remarkable adaptability and resilience. The choice before us is not an easy one, she said, her voice ringing through the chamber. But I believe that the spirit which allowed us to triumph over the Void Collective, the uniquely human blend of determination, creativity, and hope, will serve us well as we take our place among the stars. The road ahead may be challenging, but it is also filled with infinite possibilities. Thank you. As applause filled the chamber, Ilara stepped back, allowing Admiral Zorok to take the podium. The alien diplomat's speech was brief but impactful, officially extending the Confederation's invitation and outlining the process for Earth's integration. In the days that followed, debates raged across the globe, but in the end, the decision was nearly unanimous. Earth would join the Galactic Confederation, embarking on a new era of interstellar cooperation and exploration. 6 months after the battle that had changed everything, Ilara found herself back aboard the Starblade. This time, however, she wasn't fleeing from an alien threat. Instead, she was part of Earth's first official delegation to the Confederation's central worlds. As she stood on the observation deck, watching her home planet shrink to a blue marble against the vastness of space, Ilara felt a mix of excitement and nostalgia. Having second thoughts, Lyria's mental voice whispered, the alien princess materializing beside her. Ilara smiled, shaking her head. Not at all, just taking it all in. So much has changed in such a short time. Change can be frightening, Lyria acknowledged. But it also brings growth and new possibilities. Speaking of possibilities, Ilara said, turning to face her alien friend, have you given any thought to what you'll do now? With the Void Collective defeated, at least for the time being, you're free to chart your own course. Lyria's form shimmered with what Elara had come to recognize as amusement. "I thought that would be obvious, my dear Elara. My place is by your side, if you'll have me. Someone needs to keep you out of trouble as you gallivant across the cosmos." Warmth bloomed in Elara's chest. Despite their differences, human and alien, scientist and psychic, she and Lyria had formed a bond that transcended species. Together, they had already accomplished the impossible. What marvels might they discover as they ventured further into the unknown? A chime sounded, indicating they were approaching their first faster-than-light jump. Elara took a deep breath, excitement building. "Well then, partner," she said, grinning at Lyria. "Shall we see what the universe has in store for us?" As if in response, the stars outside the viewport blurred into streaks of light. The Starblade, carrying Earth's hopes and dreams, leaped into the cosmic unknown. Elara felt a thrill run through her as she contemplated the adventures that lay ahead. New worlds to explore, ancient mysteries to unravel, and perhaps even more galactic threats to face. Whatever challenges awaited, she knew that the unique combination of human ingenuity and alien wisdom would see them through. The story of humanity's place in the cosmos was just beginning, and Elara couldn't wait to help write the next chapter. As the Starblade hurtled through the fabric of space-time, Elara's mind wandered to the countless possibilities that lay ahead. Would they encounter other alien species, each with their own unique cultures and technologies? What ancient cosmic wonders might they uncover? And how would humanity continue to evolve and adapt as they spread to the stars? One thing was certain: the universe was vast, complex, and full of surprises. But with determination, compassion, and an unquenchable thirst for knowledge, Elara knew that humanity would make its mark among the stars. The journey that had begun with an unexpected visitor on a remote outpost had led to this moment, the dawn of a new era for Earth and its people. As Elara stood at the threshold of the unknown, hand in hand with Lyria, she felt a profound sense of hope and purpose. The future was unwritten, a blank canvas stretching out across the cosmos. And together, human and alien, bound by friendship and a shared vision of a better tomorrow, they would paint it with the vibrant colors of discovery, understanding, and unity. The adventure of a lifetime awaited, and Elara Chen, once a lonely scientist on a distant moon, was ready to embrace it with open arms and an open mind. As the Starblade emerged from its faster-than-light jump, a new star system sprawled before them, filled with promise and mystery. Elara squeezed Lyria's hand, a smile playing on her lips. "Ready for our next impossible task?" she asked. Lyria's mental laughter sparkled in Elara's mind. "With you, always." And so their next chapter began, a tale of exploration, diplomacy, and the ever-expanding horizons of human potential. The stars beckoned, and Elara Chen, ambassador of Earth and friend to an alien princess, answered their call with joy in her heart and wonder in her eyes. The end was just the beginning.